Texas is one of the worst hit states in the U.S. for COVID-19 infections and deaths. One of the worst of that area is El Paso County, which is now suffering through an entire new wave of these infections. And they have already announced, the county has announced that it has to double its morgue capacity in order to deal with the numbers of people that are dying. Now, last weekend, El Paso County set up its third and fourth mobile morgue to keep up with the demand of people who are dying. These COVID-19 patients are dying faster than the actual county can investigate the deaths. Think about that. They said they have a backlog of 85 bodies. They have 85 investigations they have to get through. Because the amount of people that are dying are overwhelming them that much. Now, the El Paso County Judge Richard Samingo said that El Paso County may soon have to have 10 mobile morgues set up to handle this current spike in COVID-19 deaths. I want you to think about that. The number of deaths have overwhelmed the system that has been in place for however many long decades or whatever to deal with the amount of deaths that occur in the county. They've spiked that much. Now, registered nurse Lana Rivers tells about her time working at the University Medical Center of El Paso in existence of a room she calls a pit, or the pit. Essentially, this nurse is blowing the whistle on a place where they take COVID patients and just leave them to die. That's it. Like, there isn't even much medical treatment even being given. They're given minimal treatment and limited efforts at resuscitation. They're so overwhelmed, they just have a place where they move people with COVID and wait for them to die because they literally don't have the supplies or particularly the manpower to carry out what is necessary to save these people. She said, and I quote,
"Y'all, that assignment there broke me. I was put in what's called a pit. And in this pit was 8 patients, all COVID positive. My first day of orientation, I was told that whatever patients go into the pit, they only come out in a body bag. Had one patient that was called the VIP patient. She was a doctor's wife. And when I say they pulled out all the stops for that woman, it wasn't nothing that they didn't do for that woman. And guess what? She was the one patient that made it out of that ICU alive and was able to downgrade to a long-term acute care."
She's saying nobody has actually survived. Once you go in there, you're finished. It's literally just a place to put people until they die. That's the kind of situation that's on the ground in El Paso right now. She also claimed to have witnessed a few people getting preferential treatment, one of them specifically because she was a wife of one of the doctors. And so far in that area, she's the only one that survived. Now, if you have an area where everybody's dying except for the wife of one of the doctors, well, you'll forgive me if that seems just a little bit suspicious. And maybe just a little bit unfair. Now, in response, the University Medical Center told KVIA-TV in a statement that although they sympathize with the medical professionals and the struggle that they're going through, these events cannot be fully verified. Now, I, for one, tend to believe the whistleblower in this case because we have been seeing ERs, hospitals all over the United States being overwhelmed with the influx of COVID-19 patients due to the refusal of Americans to even take the most basic, rational precautions in this situation. So despite all of the denial, all of the conspiracy theory nut jobs walking around saying the COVID's not real, or people aren't really dying from COVID, they're dying from other things, so therefore the deaths don't matter, not happening. I'm not even sure what that argument is even supposed to mean. Deaths are clearly happening. Morgues are overwhelmed, at least in this one of these particular areas. Texas is one of the worst hit places. Wisconsin is another. Well, everything's bigger in Texas, I guess. But look at this. And people are still denying the terrible deaths that are going on. And I know a lot of people are going to roll their eyes at this, but I'm going to say it anyway. The vast majority, almost exclusively the countries where the population is essentially denying the existence of COVID or that it's a real thing, are all first world countries. And they're the ones that are claiming this is an infringement on their freedom to just wear a mask, just show like an ounce of concern for other people. Just one tiny iota of concern for another person is too much to ask. You've seen it in many third world countries, even second world countries. They take it very seriously and it's under control. There's very few exceptions to this in the first world. But I think it's very indicative of something, a point that I've made in the past. While exploitation in the first world is very low, alienation is very high. In the third world, the exploitation is very high, but alienation is very low. Another contradiction of capitalism. And I think that's a big reason why. I mean, it's not just Americans, but a lot of other first world countries have their COVID conspiracy nuts who, rather than accepting the fact that there's a pandemic going on, they want to believe otherwise. Oh, it's not real because it must be some kind of plot against me personally. That's a symptom of alienation if I've ever seen one. And people got to get it through their heads that if you don't take care of this, if you don't sit down and deal with COVID-19 like a rational adult, it's going to move from a pandemic to an endemic. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.